Hey, what's going on? This is Jamie Supertramp, and this is the Monday Morning Podcast. This one is going to be Germany specific like the others, so welcome. All right, so I did go on a journey to Berlin last weekend, and it was a riot. I had all these plans to do, and I did almost all of them. So first and foremost, I meet up with my really dear friends, Suni and Maxie, and we just hung out. It wasn't anything too crazy, but something really important that did happen is I got to pet a dog as much as I wanted. My buddy Maxie, his rescue dog, so cute. His name's Lucky, and Maxie rescued him from Sri Lanka. He was a street dog, and it's a really touching story. And what excites me about the story, aside from the content, is I was able to understand it in German. So Maxie told me the gist of what was up, and I got it. I'm kind of like a baby, I guess, where you understand the gist of what's going on, except a baby who watches the news and only has to use the dictionary 1 or 2 times per story. You know what I mean? So, it was so great to go to Berlin, walk around with the dog. I was able to gift the maple syrup to they're basically family at this point, but I was able to gift the syrup, and then we had a really nice dinner over at Suni's house with their family, and we made these roasted veggies with pumpkin. It was so good, and I had never eaten pumpkin out of the context of a pumpkin pie, and it was tremendous. Very sweet. You wouldn't believe how sweet it is unless you already knew. But these roasted veggies were so good. And Suni made this curry sauce, but we didn't have any coconut milk, and she was able to improvise something out of cream cheese, or as they call it here, Frischkäse, and that was just really cool. So that's something that I really want to duplicate, because if it isn't clear, I'm getting very much into cooking. No promises that I'm good at it, but I'm definitely trying new things and being a little bit more self-sufficient. What else did we do in Berlin? We played soccer. We had a flat ball, and I learned that juggling with a flat ball is really easy. It's more, it sort of evens out your errors. So I was able to juggle it 70 times first try, which is becoming more typical, by the way. I think I've gotten to 100 once, but the lesson is that I'm slowly getting better, and I'm finally accustomed to my new ball, so I guess I'm getting better results out of that. I had a great game of soccer yesterday, by the way. It was 2-on-2, which is that's kind of my favorite way to play. 3-on-3 is fun too, but I like small games because you can kind of, it's a lot easier to shut down the passing lanes. So you come at the person with the ball, right? And then you sort of can guess where they're going to pass it. So like in your mind, you're sort of putting a blip on your radar where the other guy is, and then you shut down that passing lane. So that's plenty of fun. But the day Suni and I played soccer, it didn't last that long because it was raining. So rain kind of rained on our plans for ice skating, but it's okay because there can be another time. And the next time I go to Berlin, I will not need to take a 14-hour ride there and an 11-hour ride back, which the ride there had a 2-hour stopover in the middle of the night in a very cold place, and I was the only one making the stopover. So it was a cold experience. Look for the crazy guy doing yoga lunges in the train station. That's me. But I got to be honest, these stretches, they kept me warm, and they who doesn't need more stretching in their life? I used to be Mr. Yoga, but now I'm Mr. Soccer. And of course, it would be great to do the two, but if I pick one, it's going to be soccer. So I'm like way behind on flexibility. It's not good. But I have this new thing I do whenever I'm like reading or doing stuff on my phone, hopefully productive stuff. I'll just do this it's a yoga thing. They call it waterfall, but it's also a life thing. You just put your legs up the wall. You scooch in and put your butt right against the wall. Then you straighten your legs, and it's a pretty good hamstring stretch. And then if that isn't doing it for you, you can kind of cross your feet so the heel of one foot is in front of the toes of the other. And you try doing that while your butt is still touching the wall, and that is a tremendous passive hamstring stretch. So that's my new thing. So how do we get here? Yeah, I won't have to take the bus to Berlin next time because I can just fly. I guess it'll actually be cheaper, but I'll just have to pack light because this time I brought the big bottle of maple syrup one way, and then on the way back I took what used to be my skateboard. 3 years ago I gifted this skateboard to Suni, and she's gotten plenty of use out of it, but not in the last year. So she's kind of letting me hang on to it for the meanwhile, which is actually, wow, looking at the time, I might try and hit up the skate ramp before class. I have I have an evening class tonight, but there is a beautiful skate ramp in Constance. There's actually a skate park in my housing development, but it's really low quality. But there is a beautiful half pipe. It is so professionally made, and it's a little bit higher than I'm used to. It's about 6 feet, and it even has a deep end. But this thing looks amazing. So now I can use that skateboard and shred all year long. Because this thing looks like it's going to drain really well. So even in the winter, you can skate. And yeah, the cold does not mean a thing when you're skating, because if you're riding the ramp, 5 minutes and you'll be sweating no matter what time of the year it is. So I'm pumped about that. And, I just had such a great time in Berlin. Oh, and like I said, I was really overdue on buying some clothes. My friend Maxie, he's really fashionable too. So when I stand next to him, I feel like, did I always look this bad? Because I have this pair of jeans that I'm a huge fan of. They're from, I know it's not punk rock at all, it's from American Eagle, but they look like a classy, basic, easily forgettable pair of jeans, but they're slim and they stretch like nobody's business. And I don't know if they always looked as bad as they do now, but they are the most hideous thing. It totally looks like I'm wearing jeggings. Before, I thought that the jeggings were a low-key secret between me and the pants, but now it looks like I'm wearing the type of thing you should wear when you're working on a car. And I mean, I have worn them when I'm working on bikes. I've been working on bikes a lot too, because I have several old, super cheap, super low quality bikes, and yeah, I'm trying to breathe some life into them, and that's fun too, because I think being able to fix a bike is a really valuable skill, because if you can't fix it, you know what they're going to say at the shop? They're going to say, buy this $20 part, or, it's in their interest not to be creative about fixing it. But if you're trying to work with what you got, that's where the real creativity comes in. Like, anyone can buy a brand new set of brakes. Where's the skill in that? But I just think it's really fun to try and breathe some life into these otherwise horrible bikes. So, I've got quite a few goals, but for bikes, what I want to do is true a wheel. When the wheel's wobbly and then you make it straight. And there's a few more bike goals, but all in all, I just think bikes are just this amazing thing, and yeah, why not be able to work on bikes? So yeah, I'm wearing these jeans, right, that I've been wearing, in the garage, just doing all this bike work, and then I'm standing next to Maxie, who's like a model, And I'm like, dude, I'm embarrassed. But I needed to go shopping anyway, and he was nice enough to come with me and sort of give me some consultation. But there's this store here called Primark, and from what I hear, well, he doesn't approve of Primark. So he told me what looks good, but he still disapproved of the quality because it's as cheap as it'll get. It's so cheap that they don't even have an online store, sort of like H&M, except H&M is small and this is Walmart sized, double Walmart sized, just of like €3 t-shirts and stuff. But apparently it's all made of plastic. So that's where they get you. And if you want cotton, you got to pay the big bucks. And I bought these socks, just general long socks, for winter. And it said cotton rich on them. And I'm like, oh, maybe that means they're all cotton. And then later on, it turns out that it's like 30% cotton. So that's what they consider a cotton rich mixture. But anyway, I don't gonna bring you through the whole shopping thing, but I have more than 5 t-shirts now. And that's good. And I have another pair of pants that was only €15. Here's where they get you at these mass-produced sweatshop clothing stores. If you want a zipper on your pants, you're gonna have to pay real money. But if you're willing to subject yourself to having buttons on the front of your pants like a peasant, then you can get away with €14 jeans. So I'm not proud of the quality or anything like that, but let's think. All right, let's pretend we were going to do this the opposite way. Instead of me getting the most clothes I could, I go for the highest quality clothes and I get American Apparel. By the way, is it still even a good thing if you buy American Apparel in Germany? Shouldn't you buy German apparel? Anyhow, for what basically doubled my wardrobe was less than €100 here, including like a couple nice looking sweaters that I can wear to class. By the way, people in the school here, they don't dress like bums like at UMass with the sweatpants. I wore sweatpants to one class because it was the only class I had for that half of the day, and I was just gonna bike home. I really felt the eyes on me. I felt like a bum. Let's just put it this way. Uni Constance is not one of the places where you're gonna go to in sweatpants, okay? Pretty much all the students look like they could be a professor, And yeah, I'm conforming a little bit because I don't think it's hurting anyone to look like you take school seriously. All right? So yeah, I doubled my wardrobe for what it would have cost for a pair of pants and a t-shirt from American Apparel. So yes, I know it's, I don't want to know how these clothes were made, but like working with what I got, it was the right thing to do. All right, so I'm pretty pumped. Oh, and not only was I buying like cheap sweatshop clothing, but also cheap dollar store stuff. Constance, watch out. We are on the border of Switzerland, and if you don't know, they're super, super rich. For example, the cost of living in Zurich, which is the nearest, that's where people should fly in if they're flying to Constance. You sort of fly into Zurich. The cost of living in Zurich. All right, have you ever been to New York City? Remember how expensive it is? Double. Zurich, the cost of living there is double that of New York City. Minimum wage there is I forget the math, but it's close to $25 an hour. So the person at Burger King is making what a pretty educated tradesman back at home, or woman, tradesperson, whatever. Yeah, so a person working on Burger King there is making as much as a pretty well-off worker in the U.S., okay? So these people are absurdly rich, and it makes the prices here more expensive too, because they just use us like a Walmart. They just come in on the weekends and fill up and whatever. I will leave my opinions on that matter to myself, but basically there's not an abundance of cheap stuff here. Food is cheap, if you go to the discount grocery stores, that doesn't really change much, but everything else, just it's not a good deal. So I was really looking forward to going to Berlin just to buy much needed stuff. So I got tons of dollar store kitchen stuff because I've been watching that Brothers Green cooking channel where they teach you how to make, food on a budget, cooking for students and things like that. And there's basics that you need to have. You need to have a rubber spatula. You got to have tongs, especially for flipping tofu. Tongs are key for that. And then you want to have that little sifter to sift out your faux noodles so that you can keep the water boiling and just switch through the noodles. So there's a bunch of basics that I got here, and I'm so glad that I waited because they would have cost 3 times more. In the case of that, the noodle sifter, 10 times more if I bought something similar here. So I just stocked up on essentials. Oh, and tools too. Tools are so, I don't know if they're underrated. I think a lot of people like tools, but I cannot avoid having tools here. I just keep accumulating them because what people forget is that tools are capital, right? Tools, they let you take your bike, which would cost, 80 euros to get a new wheel on, and they let you make that wheel workable for free if you already own the tools. So, like when people talk about capital, you always think money, right? Because money is the most flexible, I would say, of all types of capital. But yeah, tools are capital too. And it's the type of capital that I really like to have. So I've got like a screwdriver. For €1, I got a set of Allen keys, Allen wrenches, whatever. All right. I'm sorry about this whole shopping part. I'll probably just cut it out. But yeah, Berlin was a total hit. I didn't do anything too crazy, but it was just really nice to reunite with friends who are basically family and play some cards. We played cards, played Monopoly Deal, and went to bed early and woke up early and Maxie took me to this really cool cafe where we just ate all kinds of different pastries and fancy coffee. Good old Berlin stuff. And then on the last day there, I went to one of SUNY's soccer games, and I left while they were up 2-0. And then before I hit the bus home for my 11-hour ride back, that was a long ride. I was able to get a Berlin Döner, which is their kebab thing. So I was pretty joyous. I knocked off so many things on my list of things I wanted to do, and it was a total hit. And next time I go back, I'm going to take the plane. It's going to be way faster, and I'll have more time to be with friends.